You ever tried to clean your wheels, but they just don't clean? Today I'm going to be looking at what might be a possible solution to that: acid wheel cleaners. So as you know, if you watched the last video, I've got myself a Mini. The wheels are an absolute mess, they're covered in baked on brake dust, and it's stuff that most likely a normal wheel cleaner wouldn't be able to deal with. So I'm going to try using an acid based wheel cleaner. I've got the two front wheels off. One of them's slightly worse than the other one. I'm going to clean one with a regular wheel cleaner and one with an acid wheel cleaner and have a look at the difference. Let's get into it. So hello and welcome back to the channel. Like I mentioned before, today we're going to be primarily looking at the acidic wheel cleaner. However, to kind of try and set a benchmark, I'm going to clean the lesser of the two wheels with just my normal wheel cleaning process. And at this moment, that process is a wheel cleaner that's funnily enough mixed up at 4:1, and then a layer of the Auto Bright Direct wheel shampoo on top, just to give it a little bit of additional dwell time, followed by a right good scrub. In this instance I'm only going to be using the Vican brush. As you can see, the wheels are off the car, don't need any barrel brushes today, so I'm just going to be using the Vican brush. And with these wheels going to be getting a bit of a restoration or DIY refurbishment, I'm not overly fussed about making any marks on them. So after a few minutes of dwell time and a good little bit of agitation with the Vican brush, the lesser dirty wheel has actually came up really well just from that application. Moving on to the worst wheel of the two, which is heavily contaminated with brake dust in comparison to the other one there. You can see rubbing my finger over it is doing nothing. So we're straight in with acid wheel cleaner, which is the KKD Devil's Juice. Recommended dilution is 4:1, which we have here in our chemically resistant IK trigger spray bottles. I'm not going to give this one the layer of foam because I don't want to neutralise the wheel acid or anything like that, so I'm just going to go straight in with the Vican brush. It has been rinsed off, so it is nice and fresh and clean. There's no additional product on the brush, and we can see it starting to tackle that baked on brake dust really well. After a quick rinse off, we can see just how much is actually left, or how much work it's actually done, I should say. Now I know you might be thinking straight away here that it doesn't look as if it's done as much work as the other more regular wheel cleaning process. However, this wheel was far more contaminated than the other side. In fact, just by looking at the brake discs, we can see why there was so much built up contamination in the barrel of this wheel. So to be completely fair, I wasn't expecting it to get rid of everything in one hit. However, what it has got rid of has really impressed me. I just wish that the other wheel had as much built up brake dust, so that we could have had a truer comparison, because realistically the comparison that we're making here isn't very fair, because the cleaner wheel is already much cleaner than the really contaminated wheel. However, moving on to the faces and following the exact same process, I'm doing them both at the same time here, and we can see that the wheel that was used with the acid, out with that little mark there, has come up really well, and it's tackled the brake dust relatively well, apart from this little spot here, which it just couldn't shift on the first hit. Moving over to the other wheel, again, we can see that the lack of contamination on this wheel makes it look a lot cleaner, but it couldn't deal with that little spot there. So let's see if the acid wheel cleaner on its own can deal with that little spot. And after allowing a little minute to dwell, I've went in with the Vican brush which to be honest doesn't look like it's doing too much. The bristles might be a little bit soft. So I've got one of my really cheap crappy detailing brushes that I got from Amazon and went at it with that, and it's made a little bit of difference. After giving the wheel with all the contamination and a hit with the acid, I wanted to see just how much brake dust was left, because the wheel did look visibly cleaner. However, it did look like there was still a fair bit of contamination left. So I was interested to see just how much of the wheel lit up when I spray fallout remover on it, and just wait till we get into the barrel and you see the difference in colour as soon as the fallout remover hits. So of course, as like most of the footage in this video, it's sped up. However, this was, I barely got onto the second wheel before the first wheel started to turn very, very purple. And you can see just how much contamination's still on the wheel. So I'm going to get this rinsed off, then give it another hit with the acid, and then we can have a look at if it's made any difference, if it's nice and clean after that. I will do that bit off camera because you don't need to see me spraying a wheel with acid and then giving it a rinse and repeat again. So this is after it's had a good agitation. So this is now the second hit of acid with a hit of fallout remover in between, and now we can really start to see just how clean this wheel's becoming. All that's left for me to do now is flip the wheels back over. I'm going to give both faces of the wheels a hit with the acid, and then I'm going to leave it there because these wheels are going to be getting a right good rub down. I'm going to be removing all the care brush from them, and then I'm going to be respraying them, which will be in a video on the other channel, which if you haven't subscribed to and you would like to see a DIY wheel restoration or wheel refurbishment and colour change, head on over there and make sure you get yourself subscribed. Just a few final things from me in this video before I finish it up. If you are going to use an acid wheel cleaner, make sure you use the correct PPE, gloves are essential, and if you're being really careful, get some eye protection and potentially a respirator. It's going to make your life a lot easier because you don't want to be breathing in that sort of stuff. Apart from that, the last thing that I do after I've used an acid wheel cleaner is just give the wheels a quick hit with a pH neutral snow foam just to neutralise anything, and then finish up. So in the end, both wheels have actually came up really quite nice. There's a few marks on both of the wheels that the acid just couldn't deal with. On the whole, the wheel that we put the acid on was in much worse condition than the wheel that we just used the regular wheel cleaner on. It's very difficult to draw comparisons. I've not went in depth with this one because I rarely get wheels like this, so I rarely get a chance to bust out the acid wheel cleaner. All I can say is that both versions, or both methods, have worked well. Both wheels are clean, they're now going to get stripped down and they're going to get painted. That's going to be all for this one. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.